Welcome to this month's Boost training. It's our 6th training and it's Standard Operating Procedures. So I'm Paul Higgins. Most of you know who I am, but in case you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, we're a community that helps corporate escapees to find both lifestyle and financial freedom. So I won't go to full presenter mode today because I want to share a couple of links out and show you some practical examples of how we use standard operating procedures. So if you struggle with implementing SOPs, standard operating procedures, it's not your fault. We all do. The key is what you are going to do about it. And the key thing here is that I want to give you an excellent structure to help you with this. So my goal is to help improve your profitability by having the right standard operating procedures. I just want you to implement 3 key actions from this training today, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it on a repeat. Just implementing 3 key things will make a big difference to your business. So what are some of the key challenges that I commonly see within our community, including the ones that I face myself? One is that you just don't like details. So I'm a big picture thinker, I always have been. I'm good on the details when I really need to be, but I don't like getting into the details. And that's why I need people in my team to help me support that. And I think most of us that leave corporate, we're sick of the bureaucracy, we're sick of the red tape, and we just want to be free of that. And I think standard operating procedures give you that freedom, but you just don't want to do it yourself. The second is you don't have the resources to help you, or you don't have the time. And often they're related. But having someone dedicated to do this, or you and your team are so busy doing everything at the moment, you're trying to do sales, you're trying to do delivery, you're trying to do marketing, you just don't get a chance to do it. And you know that you should get around to changing these SOPs and implementing it, but you don't. And then each time they catch you out. So that's some of the common challenges that I see. The next is you don't know what good looks like. So, I know certainly for me, yes, we had standard operating procedures within a large corporate, but they were in a very, much a corporate fashion. And to be honest, no one really followed them. And then you've heard so often on a podcast, someone say, oh yes, standard operating procedures, but what does that really mean? What does it look like? And I couldn't show my team what good looks like. So I had to go and find that myself and get them to use that. And the fourth one is you just don't know where to start. So, you've heard about it once again on a podcast, but you just don't know where to start. And each day you put it off, it becomes like a snowball. You just keep putting it off. Well, I didn't do it yesterday. Why should I do it today? I'll do it tomorrow. And you know how that goes on. And it's not until you lose a customer because a process was mixed, or you lose a sale because a process is missed, or you let somebody down, or one of your team members leave because they're frustrated, where it really bites you, and then it's too late to fix it. So they're the sort of key challenges that I see in our community every day, and it's one of the reasons why I chose SOPs as a key topic for training. You might have a lot of other challenges. So if you're watching this on a repeat, please email me at paul@buildlivegive.com, or if you're a Boost member, certainly go into the coaching section of the Boost community and just let me know what are some of the key challenges you're having with SOPs. And also at the end of this training, I'm going to give you the opportunity to work one-on-one with me, where I can give you some more specific advice on your key SOPs. So the key thing I want to put here is there's no silver bullet. Like, there is definitely some work you've got to do here. But what I want to do is present my top tips, which are from practical experience, and then you can apply what works for you and your business. I will show you our approach to SOP. So this is exactly what we did and what we continue to do. And I'll take you through that journey. And I'll also, so basically if you get that right, you can improve your profit and start living. You don't have to worry about when the next dollar's coming in, etc. And also you can take some time out of the business to actually go and do the things. So you can go overseas, you can go on that trip, you can, just step away from your business because your team has actually got the right standard operating procedures to back you up. So there's 3 key components that I want to cover in the training. So 1 is structure, 2 is resource, and 3 is priority. So I'll go through each of those independently. So the first one is around structure. So most members run for the hills when I mention SOPs. I certainly do. Even the word, it makes me, feel all tense. And probably if you're listening to this now, you're feeling tense yourself. It's just not something that entrepreneurs, right brain people love to do. So I completely get that. So I'll shine the light a little bit on my journey. Like most of you, you've been in corporate, you know that good process and procedure is really important, but you didn't want to be the person in corporate doing it. And in your small business, you're the only person in some cases that's going to be able to do it. So, I really struggle with this, and I started doing it myself, and I was atrocious at it. I'm a big ideas guy. I'm always on to the next idea, and I never finished it. And there was never detail to the point that I needed it. Then with my operations lead, Irina, and also my VAs, I said, look, you start doing them because I won't be able to do it and complete it, so you do it. So that was the second thing, and it worked okay, but I'll tell you a reason why in a moment why it didn't work that well. The other thing is we just had no structured template. So I basically had a Word document or a Google Doc, open it up and said, just start going for it. So there was, I kept saying, and I kept getting really frustrated to say, no, I don't want it to look like that. But they kept saying, well, but Paul, how do you want it to look? And I couldn't really show them an example on go and Google search, and I just couldn't find anything that really suited our style of business, a service-based business. Also, there was the SOPs that we did have weren't in one location. So even if someone did come in new and someone had to, we had to train them up on certain activities, it was just all over the shop. It wasn't in one central location. It wasn't easy to find. And sometimes they're the simple things that can make a real difference. When you're under pressure and if you can't find something, you'll often default to not doing it. And finally, there was no independent review. And I'll tell you why that's really important in a moment. So the biggest learning here was when I had my operations person, Irina, who's, fantastic, but she's got a very similar profile to me. So I was asking her, I'm a moderately high I, a D, a really high I, and I'm fairly low in C and S. And what I'm pointing to here is the DISC profile. So you can actually go and get a free DISC profile. I've mentioned this in other training before. TonyRobbins.com/DISC. Bless his soul, he's given us the ability to do this. And it's really good to see what your preferences are. There's other tools out there, but I think this is pretty easy to get. And what we're really looking for here is people with a high C and a high S component. And both Irina and I didn't have that. So we weren't getting into the detail and we weren't finishing it. So I was asking her to be someone that she just couldn't be. And, I sort of thought for a moment, well, why isn't this happening? Why can't I get her to do what I want? Well, I wasn't showing her exactly what to do because I hadn't had a good example myself. But also I'd asked her to basically act against her natural preferences. And I thought, well, if I'm not going to do it myself, how can I expect someone who thinks similar to me to do it? So it just wasn't going to work. So what I did was I thought, well, look, I'll persist with Irina, but what I'll do is go and get some help. So we went and I'm a member of the Less Doing community by Ari Meisel. Ari's got a fantastic community. It's all about how do you systemize your business? So I thought if he's one of the best in the world at this, he will have some really good SOPs. So we bought some time with him and had a look at some of his templates and got some good feedback from him. I also did an online course as well. And I sort of took both of those learnings and, the session itself was Irina with Ari's team. And then the training, I sort of watched it. Irina watched it as well. And we both compared our notes. So that was a really good step forward, but it still wasn't quite there. I was still sort of a bit frustrated. We had launched a couple of major products and I could just see things slipping through the cracks and it really wasn't giving people the customer experience that I wanted to, and we're having a bit of customer churn because of it. It's so hard to get great clients like you that's watching this or watching the replay that, I really wanted to keep that. So this is an example of what before looked like. And this is a little embarrassing. It's sort of showing my dirty laundry, so to speak. But when it finally comes up, so the slowest internet in the world, it will come up. I'll show you, an example of one of the SOPs that I did. And I tried to do it whilst I was actually doing the activity. So we've got some one-on-one advisory clients. So we've got, Boost the membership. We've got Titans, which is the mastermind. I still do some one-on-one advisory work. And, the onboarding of it, I'd always missed bits and pieces, and it was me emailing or me using Asana, and it was, wasn't structured. There was no automation set up. It was a bit all over the shop. And you can see here that this was my attempt of an onboarding. So, if you looked at this, add contact to Salesflare. Well, if you're new to the company, what is Salesflare? How do you log in? Where in Salesflare? There's just so many gaps in the way that I did this, and of course, it didn't get a great result. So that didn't really work. So that was sort of the before. So the key bit out of this first section is to really develop your SOP structure template. So if you'd like a copy of our template, let me know. Contact me through the direct coaching. And as I said, at the end of this training also, you'll get an opportunity where I can actually spend one-on-one time with you to really go through and help you improve your SOP and tailor it for your business. So the second one is the resource, and you can see where this is going. So, I started doing it, then I had my team doing it. We got a bit of external help, a bit of IP in, so that improved it a little, but it still wasn't at a point where I would say that it was best in class. So what we learned is that, yes, I can do some of it. So I might do 10%, and I'll show you some ways to capture it better than what I used to do, which was just put it in bullet point in a Google Doc. The next is that the user is involved in this, and the user is the person that does it every day. They just build up a wealth of knowledge over a period of time, which is an expert coming in independently is not going to be able to pick that up. Little nuances. So what happens if it's a non-paying member or a paying member or whatever it may be? So, I think they should take it to about 50%, and then the expert goes the next 50% and really finishes it off. And I'll talk about the review process a little later. So what are some ways to make it easy? So if you are a business owner and you've got to get some of it out of your head, I think, there's two simple ways. So one is to use video. So we use Cloud App. You can also use Zoom, or also we've got Screencast. There's a couple of great ones out there. I really like the Cloud App. So you can actually record and talk at the same time. So, describe as in much detail as you can what's happening. And then you can send that to your team to start to document the SOP. Or at worst, you can watch it back and then do it in bits and pieces. The second is to record and transcribe. So you could use the same video, or you could actually record something. So we drop it into a little platform called Otter.ai. I think you get about 75 minutes a month of free transcription. So it's not perfect, so it's not word for word, but it's a great start. And what you can do is then give that to your VA, your operations person, whoever, to start to do it. So they're the things that I would recommend to make it easier for you. So the other day I had a LinkedIn post, and we changed our process, and once again got lots of moving parts. And what I did was just recorded my process and said, okay, now go and do the first draft of the steps and then hand it to the expert off that. And it worked quite well. So from a user point of view, like I said, get them to do the first pass. Also get them to make notes and correct what expert does. So that's, really important that there is that two-way, because the expert doesn't know your business as well as you or the people that do the day-to-day. And to be honest, the people that do the day-to-day actually know it much better than you. And also, users will detect those special cases, as I said before, that takes time, and sometimes it's mistakes that embed the learning, and they've got lots of time. So then the expert, what's their key role? So one is to set up those templates and make sure that that template is right from the first section. The next is to update you on a weekly basis. It can be weekly, it could be fortnightly. I really enjoy the weekly component, or rather a shorter meeting, so a half an hour meeting every week, than a longer meeting over a fortnight, but that's just a personal preference. And they've also got to help you prioritize from their experience and from yours, which are the SOPs that are most important. And I'll go through that in a little bit later, exactly how you prioritize in the third section.